asking us, what can we do with all of this? And the exciting thing about the connectome therapy is that it is helping us to pull all of this information into guidelines that can help us to do better research with fast reward, to figure out how to target it, to figure out how effective it is in other domains that we haven't even looked at yet, and to understand its applications clinically. But the last part of this talk, and then we'll be done and I'll take questions, is understanding the chemical neuromodulation of the brain, and understanding the new research on how Fast Forward, which you know, has been designed not only just to drive the development of these connectomes that we now see are so important clinically, and we're getting the clinical relevance to them, but also to understand the underlying neurochemistry that's built into our products. So as kind of just a little break, I'm going to take you to a book by Chapman that just came out in 2013. Chapman is a neuroscientist, neuropsychologist really, who wrote a wonderful book. It's in the bibliography on creating a smart brain. There are a couple of those out there now. There's another one by Rudolph Tanzi, who's also an excellent neuropsychologist who's very interested in how to take all this information for typical adults and make our brains function better. But Chapman does work with traumatic brain injured patients, and so the takeaways Chapman has for us from all this neuroscience research is, number one, balanced brain stimulation. That active brain and mental stimulation is required to recover from any kind of loss of cognitive function or any kind of interference with the development of cognitive function. So instead of just being symptom-based, we have to really focus on stimulating the brain. All of you know that, but unfortunately there's a big division, at least in our field of speech and language pathologists, between therapists who feel we should do everything symptom-based versus those who understand the importance of cognitive stimulation. And along those lines, I like to use Mersnick and Jenkins' 80% rule, that we want to keep stimulation for all of our clients at this maximum level, where too low of a challenge keeps them bored and they don't like it, but if it's too high of a challenge, they become frustrated. And that adaptability of our programs fits right into that, where you can ratchet up all exercises by a notch to keep all of our clients moving at the optimal rate. Bill Jenkins once told me, he described that, and it was also described in a couple of articles. The book by Stanislav Dehaene uses the same terminology, zone of proximal development, that well-designed neuroscience programs are designed to be just difficult enough to engage the client or patient, but easy enough to maintain high spirits. Secondly, we do have to focus on strategic attention, that is a huge part of rehabilitation or habilitation of most of the problems that we work with, so that attention should be a goal that we work on, and we do know that the Fast Forward programs are programs that target attentional skills, specifically strategic and goal-oriented attention, and that's very important for development of the frontal lobe. It's very important for cognitive control. It's very important for executive functions. And the therapist can gradually add kinds of distractions into a therapeutic situation to build tolerance. That's Chapman's advice. But as you know, with Fast Forward, those kinds of graduated attentional tasks are built in very strategically. And then, of course, the importance of working with higher order processes, especially working memory, that all of our therapy should include working memory exercises. Again, Fast Forward language, Fast Forward literacy, all the reading products, and then when we get into reading assistant, are heavily based on demands of working memory. And so we know that working memory demands drive the brain to develop and to mature very effectively and lead to better ability on higher level tasks. And then finally, Chapman summarizes with what all you're doing today, which is to stay informed and keep up with the new research, because as you can tell, it is exploding. For me to get through all of this in an hour, you can't imagine the number of times I rehearsed this so I could get through these slides in that amount of time, because the research is coming from all sorts of different angles. So let's go in now to the very last section of this, the last 15 minutes, and then I'll take questions, which is this whole idea of neuromodulators. Now, to remind you, you know that there are neurochemicals, neurotransmitters that are released at the synapse. You can